Important, of great significance or value. But £16.74 million and around £56,000 per week was all it took Arsenal to prize Japanese international Takehiro Tomiyasu away from Italy on transfer deadline day last summer. Having recently visited Bologna myself and sampled the local cuisine, that's no mean feat. Takehiro spent 2 full seasons in Emilia-Romagna, having previously spent time in Belgium and his native Japan. His journey west continues. To assess how important something is, you must first define your terms. Important in what sense? To whom? And how? A leading actor may take the plaudits, but without the ensemble, crew and audience, they're doing little more than talking to themselves. For a football team, a player's importance could be measured by a number of metrics, but for the purposes of clarity, I will address the 2 that I believe are the most important: his role from a tactical, on-pitch perspective, and his cultural, more intangible impact away from the pitch. Let's first look at Tomiyasu's importance from a tactical perspective. One of Tomiyasu's most eye-catching qualities is the fact that he is ambipedal. The data site FBref have him at 68% right-footed. The only other player they have at exactly 68% right-footed in Arsenal's recent history, Santi Cazorla. This enables him to be comfortable in multiple zones on the pitch, and that leads us to his most well-known quality, positional versatility. In his final season at Bologna in all competitions, Tomiyasu played 17 games at centre-back, covering both sides, 14 games at right-back, and 2 games at left-back. It takes extraordinary football IQ to be comfortable in that many zones on the pitch, especially at the top level, as well as the right physical attributes and an extremely high level of technique. Arteta himself said, "When we followed the player, it's one of the things that I came across, and it gives you a lot of solutions. He can use both feet, he can play right centre-back, left back. That gives you enormous variability." But Takehiro is not just adaptable positionally, he's also adaptable stylistically. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things here. Firstly, you can see he's comfortable at building in a 3 on both the left, as you can see versus Spurs here, and also on the right. And you can see he adjusts his position slightly forward according to where White and Gabriel are. The second thing is he's really good at inverting. He essentially forms what could be described almost as a double pivot. This could be for many reasons. It could be to play past the Leeds press to create some more overloads in the centre. It may be to bypass the right winger. I also want to note the position of Cedric Suarez. So this is a lopsided system. He's high and wide in juxtaposition to Tomiyasu, meaning Arsenal can still stretch them, but Tomiyasu gives you the option to come inside. There's a number of reasons for that, but what it does is it means you have an extra man in the midfield to help you out. In this situation in the Leeds game, Xhaka ran into a little bit of trouble in the Leeds midfield, and Tomiyasu's there able to bail him out and regain and retain. As well as building and coming in the interior, he can also go on the outside, and he has a lovely chip ball through here from Ben White, comes onto the ball on the exterior, gets blocked off by a Norwich player, and because of his ambipedal nature, he can cut back in on his left and whip a ball in. Have to say whipped balls, especially on the run, probably his weak point. When he does invert, he also scans like a top midfielder. If you look at this situation here, it's about 2 seconds worth of footage. He scans 3 times and adjusts his body position. Might be basic, but a lot of midfielders even don't do it. The ever excellent Clive on the Arsenal Vision podcast recently highlighted his excellent body position when facing even the world's best defenders, Mane in this case. He's crouched down, on his toes, ready to spring off in any direction. He gets under Mane, stands up, pinches the ball, and he so rarely commits a foul. You can see how focused he is in this image on the ball, and the slight turn in his shoulders means he can step off in any direction. Also in this image, note Arsenal's defensive line. They've not stepped back, they think Tomiyasu is going to win that 1v1, and he does. I actually really struggled to find examples of Tomiyasu 1v1 for this video, because teams so rarely try to isolate him in that situation, and that tells you everything you need to know. I think one of Arteta's big mistakes in the most recent North London derby was to not move Tomiyasu over to the right channel sooner to provide the stability we needed. But the point is, he gives you that option. In game, you have a chess piece you can move around. While Carve may not be sure what position he plays, in the modern game, maybe it doesn't matter that much. Tomiyasu is an enabler. Aerially, he's quite simply outstanding. Arsenal really lacked an aerial presence heading into this season, especially on the exterior, with all of Kieran Tierney, Cedric Suarez, Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli coming in at 5'10" or under. He wins 3.05 aerial duels per 90, a staggering amount, putting him at the very top of the charts when compared to other fullbacks in the top 5 leagues. Gabriel Magalhaes, probably our next best aerial threat, only wins 2.22 per 90. More widely, you'll struggle to find someone statistically who competes with Tomiyasu on the exterior, so you begin to look at dominant centre-backs. Ruben Dias only wins 2.05 per 90, Emerick Laporte is at 2.25, but Virgil van Dijk wins 4.12 per 90. He's quite simply on another level. Additionally, coming into this, I thought Tomiyasu was a fantastic defender and pretty average going forward. Maybe you think that too, but the data tells us that just isn't true. Certainly not in this Arsenal team. Based on the biggest pool of consecutive games he's played towards the beginning of the season, in January, Tomiyasu's XG build-up, i.e. what he contributes to Arsenal's expected goals, was ranked 7th in the team, ahead of Benjamin White, Kieran Tierney, Bukayo Saka, and Emile Smith-Rowe. Tomiyasu also ranked 3rd at the entire club for final third entries. This makes sense, as for example Bukayo Saka will spend most of his time in the final third, so he won't rack up many entries, but it's still impressive. He's very progressive too. The darker pass sonars tell us where most of his passes travel, and as you can see, especially around the halfway line, it's generally progressive. Again, he ranks highly in this metric when compared to other players at the club. Though it hasn't been his role at Arsenal, watch him playing for Bologna and Japan, and you'll see someone that when given more responsibility on the ball is adept at deep progression and switches. Here's just one example where you see him at left centre-back for Japan's under-23s team, playing a gorgeously accurate cross-field ball for the right winger. He's particularly skilled at fading balls over the top, putting backspin on the ball so it's more controllable for the receiver. Against Leeds at home, Tomiyasu completed 40 final third passes, the most in the game. He didn't misplace a single one. He's also particularly adept at the reverse pass. A delightful one for Martinelli is shown from Thursday's game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. He also has an exemplary discipline record, 0.1 yellows per 90 and 0 red cards this season. So we can see Tomiyasu's star quality, what makes him stand out. But what about his ensemble work? What about the intangibles? Here's the thing with so-called soft factors. Individually, they don't matter that much. What the playing surface is like, how up for the game the crowd are, or indeed if a player is a particularly good cultural fit. What matters is what happens in the 2 hours after you cross the white line, right? But the thing is, ignore enough of them, and you ignore a huge part of what influences performances and individuals, as seen with the impact of Arteta's cultural reset this season. Is Tomiyasu part of that reset? The only way to tell is to listen to those who know. Benjamin White, in an interview with Astro Sport last October, spoke about Tomiyasu's impact after only a few months. He fitted straight in when he came. All the boys love him, and he's doing the business on the pitch as well. In another interview with DAZN Japan, White said, "Tommy is amazing. He's the best right back I've ever played with. He's always focused. It's an honour to play next to him. Tommy does simple things at a world-class level. He completely understands all English, and he speaks it as well as I can." And Mikel loves Tomiyasu too. He's such a great character. He's a top professional who's given us a lot of composure in the back line. The way he defends, the way he understands what we want to do with him has been top. The adaptation and the way he's done it, it deserves a lot of credit. Tomiyasu himself, when he speaks to the media, seems focused, intelligent, and on board. When there were question marks over why Benjamin White wasn't passing to him in the build-up phase a while ago, Tomiyasu came out in the media and said, "Often, passes from the centre-back to the full-backs become pressure passes. I play centre-back too, and simple passes to the side-backs are actually the last option I consider. Ben White is a good player who doesn't play passes that put you under pressure." A detailed but simple explanation. And it's yet another sign that Tomiyasu clearly understands his differing roles in the team. He had this to say about Arteta. After the game he will ask, "How was it? Did you enjoy it? I feel lots of love, and he's a manager that I can respect as a person too. I think all the players feel the same way." So the love goes both ways. So culturally then, the signs point to Tomiyasu being an excellent fit at Arsenal. The security he brings is a huge breath of fresh air. A reliable, dependable, and quality professional. He doesn't have a particularly notable off-field life, but the Super Tomiyasu song is an Arsenal fan favourite. Maybe the best way to put his impact into words is this. When you see Cedric Suarez's name on the team sheet over Tomiyasu, how do you feel? There's still a few questions about Tomiyasu, because the best ability is sometimes availability. Granit Xhaka has racked up 248 appearances for Arsenal, in some senses because of his exemplary injury record. Excluding his most significant injury, his medial collateral ligament injury, Xhaka has missed only 19 games for Arsenal in 6 seasons. Tomiyasu has already missed 8. We can only hope this is the exception to the rule. Without Tomiyasu in the team, we've scored less goals. 20 without him, 31 with him, having played only 4 more games with Tomiyasu than we have without him this season. We arguably had our worst run of the season in the 3 games against Palace, Brighton and Southampton without him in the team. We concede more XG and have less clean sheets, 5 without him and 8 with him. Tomiyasu provides versatility and solidity. From the eye test, I think we look worse without him. He's a great character to have around, and he's loved by all, staff and fans alike. So what could make him more important? Sure, a top striker may take all the headlines, but without their base, they have no platform to perform on. Import is tricky. As laid out, There's so many variables that define a player's importance to a team, and so much subjectivity that it makes it almost impossible to define one player as a team's most important. A team is a symbiotic system. In high leverage moments, a talismanic clutch player, the difference maker who gets you over a certain line like Cristiano Ronaldo, could be argued as most important. Culturally, it could be a communicative leader like Jordan Henderson. Tactically, you could argue in this Arsenal team that Martin Odegaard's work between the lines and his tempo-setting abilities make him the most important, or that the ball carrying and recovery pace on Benjamin White allow Arsenal to sit 5 to 10 yards further up the pitch and suffocate an opposition. You could even say Cedric Suarez is the most important. You'd be wrong, but you could. As Tomiyasu's star grows, I truly believe that in a few seasons, people will consider him to be one of the most important fullbacks in England and possibly Europe. Still only 23, not 24 until November, because that's how it works. He has a long way to go. He could certainly become that talismanic figure. Tomiyasu brings sorely missed qualities, but all things considered, with the contributions of the squad in this run-in, I think this season has been much more of an ensemble piece.